It was an armadillo. No, yeah, I think it was an armadillo. I mean, we don't really know.
You don't know.
Could have been a small humanoid of some sort.
Yeah, it could be a Keebler elf. All he wanted to do was make, fudge stripe cookies, and you buried him alive.
Oh my God.
The cask of fudge stripe cookies.
Can you imagine? Oh boy, I'd go to like Keebler jail, which I'd probably be able to break out of pretty easily.
I would think so. It would just be made of delicious cookie.
And no, he broke out again.
How does he do it?
Drats.
That's my secret calf. I'm always hungry.
What do you think the Keebler exclamation is?
Like sort of a drat kind of thing.
Yeah,
let's see. What would they say? Well, the obvious one, I guess, would be fudge.
Of course. Of course that's what they say. Oh, so in Elf, the movie,
yes,
isn't there a scene where they talk about the various types of elves, and there's Keebler elves. They don't call them Keebler, but it's clear that they're in a tree baking things. But doesn't the tree catch fire? Wow. Am I making this up?
I don't know if you are, because it seems familiar, but I can't place it in Elf.
I think they might.
I know that we always kind of laugh because my friends in college and I were nerds, and so we were Lord of the Rings fans, and so we talked about the Keebler elves, then instead of the Noldor or the whatever. But they're
very different elves.
Instead of the Eldars, they're the Keeblers.
I can't be making this up. It's too.
It does sound familiar, but I don't know that I'm placing it in Elf. Maybe in something else.
I'm pretty sure that's where. I'm pretty sure it's a scene.
I'm pretty sure. I remember the narwhal.
Oh,
that's the only part. Not the only part I remember, but
yeah, I don't exactly remember the day that I discovered. I didn't really discover. I remember the day when I was at the North Pole that I discovered the narwhal, and I named him Narwhal. No, I remember the day that I learned that the narwhal actually they exist.
This is a real thing, yeah.
Yeah, like as a kid,
it seems like such a made up.
It's like a dolphin with a unicorn's horn.
Yeah, it's just kind of spherical on the front.
We know that unicorns don't exist.
Right. So what does this guy have his horn?
Right. and then I remember somebody referring to it, and of course, me being my incredulous self, I was like, surely that can't be really a thing. This person's an idiot.
No way.
They probably don't even pronounce Craig correctly.
These crazy Craig mispronouncing mother fudgers.
And then I saw it was true. I'm sure I looked it up on Microsoft Encarta or something.
Encarta. Love it.
Because I'm pretty sure.
CD-ROMs were like mind-blowingly full of data.
I'm pretty sure we were missing the letter N from our Britannica set.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's an important letter.
So I took Alex to college.
Yes. How did it go? Did he end up trying to stab you because of all of the things you did in the hotel room?
I didn't have to do all the things, fortunately.
Oh, no? Great.
No, it was a nice hotel room.
Cool.
We did end up having to bed together because the pull-out sofa thing, which should have been ample for him, turned out to be. I just couldn't make him sleep in that. It was so uncomfortable. You could tell. You're pulling it out, and you get the cushions all out, and you pull. And the room had been renovated recently, so it's like, it's all looking good. Pull it out. It folds out, and you can just tell on its unfolding. You can tell, like, is this mattress going to like expand?
Right. Surely.
It's just this thin little thing.
It's like somebody put a quilt on some monkey bars.
I'm like, what? And maybe it's really comfortable. Maybe it's memory foam or something.
There you go. Yeah.
It was not. And so
It was amnesia foam.
he did lay down on it, and he gave me this look like, and I said, let me try. And I said, you can't sleep on this. We had a king size bed just to use, so that was great. And there was a hallway, like of sufficient length, that was sort of around the corner and down to the door to leave.
Oh,
I say the main door as if there was another door to leave. There wasn't. The main and only door to leave, unless you're going off the balcony. It was far enough down that it didn't, like the light from under the door and through the peephole didn't travel. Like, and light doesn't really bend.
Right. Well, unless you
without the appropriate gravitational
I was about
field.
to say, unless you ate a lot that night.
So I was okay. We did have the sound machine going.
There you go. Was it? What was the sound? Is it always the same one? Do you always do the rain?
What kind of question is that?
Well, I don't know. He says some people like to mix it up. Maybe
if I mix
waves.
it up, I'll be awake. No. Oh no. See, I always like the idea of waves. And those meadow sounding sounds, or like you're in the forest and there's crickets, or you're lakeside and you hear the water like lapping up, right? Mm-hmm. No.
Somehow it's not like even enough, maybe.
Yeah, it's just I can't explain it. So what I use an app called Nature Space, and I use a track called Brainwash. Appropriately
that make me a little nervous to go to sleep with that going.
And when I'm home, I actually have that going, plus my Alexa device, which I've told you
they're
before
both going.
I have them both go.
Do they fight it out? I mean, is it?
I think the reason I have them both go is because I think there was a time like where we would lose our internet or something, and then the Alexa device would stop playing.
Oh, yeah.
And so then this was like a backup. Maybe I would keep sleeping, because while we were at this hotel, my son Alex and I, I did wake up one night to silence. Like my sound stopped, and that woke me up.
I was going to ask if suddenly it stops, is that enough to wake you up? Usually?
Yeah. It was like, what's wrong? What
Suddenly
happened?
things have changed,
And my phone wasn't coming to life.
Uh-oh.
So that meant it must have run out of power, which meant that it probably wasn't plugged in properly. So then I had to figure out, okay, because there's no chance I'm going to go back to sleep without the sound on. I've got to figure out is this something wrong with the plug? So I sort of jiggle the thing, and I jiggled the other thing, and I try to make sure it's all plugged in. I'm doing this all in the dark, of course, because it's dark. Boy, is it dark, right?
Like you're in a cave.
And I don't want to turn a light on because I don't want to wake up, and I don't want to wake up Alex. And so
you'll singe your retinas if you go from that level of dark to light at all.
Yeah. So then I went to try to find my battery pack, like my portable battery thing. Do I have it? I don't know if I have it handy. And I couldn't find my pouch. I had this little pouch that I carry around, and it has all my wires, chargers, and other stuff in it, assorted items that you may need on a plane or within handy reach in a hotel or something. Anyway, it wasn't within handy reach. I couldn't find it. Turns out by morning I could tell where it was, right next to this spot where I was looking all over for it, but couldn't see it. So then I did find another charging like another cord, so I was able to just move my phone across the room to plug it in over there. The next morning, I was talking about this with Alex. I said, "Yeah, my phone died. I don't know what happened. I think I said like the power plug wasn't in properly or something." He's like, "Yeah, I heard you were like rummaging around." I was like, "Dude, why didn't you say something? I could have turned the light on."
I just like making you rummage around in the dark. This particular darkness bed that you've made for yourself.
Bellingham's an interesting town. It's kind of, it's sweet that people who are there refer to it as a city. I mean, it is technically a city. It's like the city of Winter Garden.
Right. Yeah.
Well, come on, guys. Like maybe
not the biggest garden out there.
Like, was the word town taken or something?
Yeah. Is that some kind of pejorative that I'm not aware of?
Say town of Winter Garden. Like, I mean, like no one's saying the town. But like it's an incorporated city. I get it. Okay, you have a mayor or whatever, but
real cute.
It's cute. It's cute. Like I always thought of Colorado Springs as being kind of a small city, but Colorado Springs is ginormous compared to Bellingham.
Oh wow!
But it kind of reminds me of kind of little like flavor of Berkeley to it.
Oh, nice.
And Boulder and that sort of thing. And they had an Ethiopian restaurant there. That's usually my measure for a progressive city.
Oh, nice.
An enlightened city is does it have an Ethiopian restaurant?
Yeah. Okay.
And it did.
And I
didn't go because you don't go to an Ethiopian restaurant alone.
That's that old saying.
Yeah. You can get sushi alone, which I did. But you can't get Ethiopian food alone.
No. Is it best? It's an experience best shared.
Don't you think?
You'd say. Well, I don't know. I eating alone. I travel. Well, back in the before times, I traveled a lot for work, and inevitably, unless you're going to the home office, you're going either on site to some place, maybe even an office that is in the company but is not in the city that you usually are in, or it's like a convention of some kind. And so inevitably you're going to end up eating by yourself a lot. But it's still a thing that I don't know what it is about eating alone. That's always I just kind of feel weird and awkward when I eat by myself. I'm always glad when there's a bar, because that sort of mitigates the awkwardness if you can sit at the bar and eat. Okay. But if you're in like a booth by yourself, that kind of feels weird to me.
I actually feel like the bar is worse than a booth or table. Yeah. I think that the bar, there's a lot more pressure on you. It's like the bar is for all the people who are obviously alone but don't want to be.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
So then you're like, am I at the bar to like, am I supposed to have a conversation with the bartender?
Yeah, there is a little pressure there.
And I feel like they're also feeling like this weird, awkward pressure too. Like, how much does this guy want to chit chat?
Right, exactly. You see him kind of weighing, is this a guy that wants me to talk to him, or should I leave this guy alone?
Right.
Which gets me the bigger tip.
Well, the answer for me is always leave me the hell alone.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Like, I don't. I'm not looking for a friend.
Yeah. I got plenty.
I mean, even if that's not true, but like,
I know it totally is not.
I've got 4.
I know a person.
4 is my favorite number.
I've met people.
If I have 5, then I'm out of fingers, and that makes me anxious. So I'm leaving it to 4.
But I gotta let another one go. I only have certain slots.
I can't live with that kind of anxiety and pressure. So I am at the bar. If I'm at the bar, then I like, do I have to talk to the bartender? Do they have to talk to me? Is like, then I get all anxious. Oh my God. Like, I'm sitting there. Then there's like the where do you sit decision. So, which is not completely unlike the urinal selection decision, right? But I feel like the urinal selection decision has a much more straightforward and universally accepted
there are definite laws there. Yeah,
COVID has kind of done weird things with that, but anyway, I digress. We are at the bar, and I'm trying to figure out where you're going to sit, and I think that What if you're in this situation where to sit not with like right next to somebody, because that's awkward.
Right.
Splits another set of 2 seats. It's like, what do you do in the situation where there's 3 seats available?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you sit in the middle one, you're definitely saying...
You're kind of a jerk.
Yeah,
you're also like, you're screwing over a couple. You're
right,
screwing over a proper, like, 2 people who actually deserve to be sitting next to each other.
Well, they got booths for those guys.
And now you're that person. And then they come in, and you're sitting there, and you're like, no, like, it's like being on the bus. And that person who comes in is like clearly not like elderly and crippled, but older than you, or maybe a woman, like chivalry's not dead kind of thing. You're like, now I gotta get up. So like now you're gonna have to like you offer up that seat, but to offer up the seat means you're gonna go sit closer to that person you avoided to begin with.
Right.
It's just a whole thing, right? Sitting at the bar, like it's Pandora's box, man.
It is.
It's Pandora's box. And also, we haven't really talked about sports at all. There's a reason for that. Like, I don't know anything.
I mean, and inevitably somebody is going to say, "Hey, did you see?"
I don't even know enough to have a cocktail party level conversation about anything. Like, I know more about the weather. Like, in all seriousness, I could tell you about the weather and what certain types of clouds are. Like, right. I can't even name players on my favorite team. Like,
you try to cut them off at the pass with some kind of weather thing that they don't know about. So, what do you think of rear flank downdraft?
I've got secret ways of kind of navigating these. Some of my best friends are huge sports nuts. Don't out me. No, they're going to be like, dude, we know. It's
not easily concealed from
You're not kidding
guys.
anybody. And I realized on this trip, actually, that my son Alex, he knows so much more than I do about sports. Well, certainly about football. He's been doing fantasy football with his friends for several years. Mm-hmm. Apparently, you learn a lot. And
I've been doing it for a very long time. I still know jack.
It wasn't even this trip where I learned it. You know where it was? It was in the back of an Uber when we were going our way to Disneyland. And Alex was like chatting it up with the Uber driver.
Oh, wow.
About football and players' names who like on other teams. And I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah.
I mean, good thing we got that DNA testing done. It's like really? So if you're at the bar, then usually there's like a game on.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And then someone wants to talk to you about that. Yeah, and I got to pretend to be interested in like, just
and
put
it's like
cricket on.
Yeah.
No one understands it.
Right. You got 3 runs at the test or whatever the hell. Yeah. But because I'll enjoy watching games, and I have teams that I like Mississippi State is where I got my degrees from, so they're my college team.
Okay.
And they whipped the crap out of LSU this weekend.
Well, congratulations, awesome. I guess then.
Thank you. It was all me. It was all me.
Make my head bigger here.
That's important. But the thing is that like somebody will say, well, Wilkins last week had 35 tackles or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know who Wilkins is. I don't know who any of these people are. I may know the quarterback just because they keep talking about him, and then maybe the guy he throws to the most. I might know that guy. And I can see that the guys in the maroon shirts are doing things, and I want them to do well. And I want the guys in the other shirts, I want them to not do as well. And I can gauge how well they're doing by the reactions of people and the numbers in the score. And that's about it. I know more about soccer, but I can't keep that stuff straight.
How much does people know about soccer? You kick a ball down the field, then you try to kick the ball the other direction.
Well, we can get into that if you want, but
not really.
But my thing is that so many of these commentators are like, especially like soccer is a good example of it, because if you have a team,
just to be clear, because we do have some international listeners,
Then we're talking about
when we talk about football, we're talking about American football.
American football, yeah.
When we're talking about soccer, we're talking about football.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now we cleared that up.
Right.
Okay.
But soccer, the English came up with that word. So
and they abandoned it. It's
and then
kind of like
they're mad
kind
at
of
us
like
for
the
still
imperial,
using it.
kind of like the imperial unit system.
Well, exactly. You
Thanks,
guys came up with all this stuff, but and then it's called
Give
football.
it to the Yanks.
It's not called football because you play with your foot. It's because you play on foot as opposed to polo. But anyway, the point is that you'll hear these soccer commentators, and it could be basketball because this is kind of along the same lines. There's a lot of passing in between the players, and this guy knows all of them. It's Rogers to Wilkins, and Wilkins over to this guy, and back and forth. And this guy just, man, I couldn't keep that straight. I mean, they don't even have like really well visible numbers that you could keep them by, because you're just like, how are you keeping this straight? This is insane. I mean, I used to announce baseball. Now that's a game that's easy to announce because everything happens at a nice pace that you don't have to worry about getting away from you. And I did football for a little while. And again, there's a play. One person's got the ball, and he does a thing with the ball. Mm-hmm. And you know what to say if he did it well, and you know what to say if he didn't do it well. And the guy's got a big old number on him, and so you get.
But you're not describing the play at all.
You're not. No. I was just the announcer guy, like not the
look, a little
commentator.
Flea flicker. There's a Henderson threw a flea flicker because that's a thing.
He did the squat punch and then the knee breezer up the left side.
He took his oats around the back.
And how? But it's those two things I was like, all right, I got this because it's slow enough that I can. But if I had to, it's like these guys memorize the entire teams, and I guess they do, or maybe they just know them. Maybe they know enough about sports, or they follow it enough. Probably so. Mm-hmm. But still, it's a level that is just amazing to me for some reason. For somebody to have that amount of knowledge of sport, like I follow a team, I could see myself being like an expert on that team if I really worked at it. Mm-hmm. But there's people that are experts on the whole sport, and they know all the teams, and they know all the things about all the teams. Mm-hmm. And man, I don't understand how one can accumulate that level of knowledge. I
think I like to believe that if I gave myself over to it, like watch SportsCenter all the time, watch Good Morning Football, which I hear I should watch.
Is that a thing? I've never heard of that.
Oh yeah. Oh, we'll talk.
Good Morning Football.
We'll talk offline.
You're addressing football,
and I even played fantasy football and read stats about it, and actually read the sports page. Mm-hmm. I think there's a sports page in the New York Times. They usually make it that far.
One would assume, but I don't know.
If I did those things, then yes, over time, I do believe in myself enough to think that I would accumulate enough information to actually know something to not sound like an idiot.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't know. There's no chance I'm going to remember all of this. I feel the same way about cars too. Like I've never been a big car person.
Yeah.
People can name all the makes and models from way back when, and they know this and that. And
and then down to the year. This was a 46 Dodge versus a 48, and then you're like, I don't know, do one of them have
I
a
like
bigger
watching
steering
football,
wheel?
and I like driving cars.
Yeah.
But I don't. I also
I'm happy to use them.
I also like my food to be refrigerated, and I don't know everything there is to know about refrigerators.
I hear a compressor is involved.
You know what I mean?
That's about it.
So anyway, I don't I'm not putting down anybody who does have that kind of knowledge. I'm actually a little jealous. I'm not a little. I'm very very jealous that they have that level of information at their disposal. Because I think as a guy, it's like a little emasculating to kind of be in that situation where the guys are having a conversation. You're like, I can't. Can we talk about Disney?
Right, exactly. I feel a lot like Niles on Frasier when he said, "Oh yes, I can't go to sleep at night until I've found out what player threw what ball through what apparatus."
And those guys could be my heroes, right?
I know.
The Cranes, they could be my heroes until they start talking about wine and opera. And I'm like, Now, see what you had to go do there.
Now you're knowing stuff about stuff, and that's not.
I mean, I can't hang out with anybody on that show except the dog.
There you go. He'll stare at you.
And I can't even remember his name because you know how I am about names.
Eddie.
Okay, Eddie. There you go. See, now I can hear the father screaming, Eddie. So I think a table is the better option. You're also not going to get in any trouble or seemingly trouble. Like you're not going to have to worry about somebody like sitting down at your table and trying to hit on you, or to you strike up a conversation with somebody and you're perceived to be like making a move. You know what I mean? Like at a table, you're moded in. And not, like a booth is the best. I know you said you wouldn't want to sit at a booth. The booth is actually I think the best because you can either you can play Godfather, right? You can sit. So you remember like the table we sat at the Wave, the booth there.
Yeah,
they had the same kind of booths.
The horseshoe kind of booth.
Yeah, they had the same kind of booth at the Brown Derby. You want to feel important. You go to a restaurant with booths like that by yourself, and you say, especially if there's like a corner one. Or one like elevated, you say you want that booth.
Yeah.
Right? Come up with whatever excuse you need. Bum leg. You need to spread yourself out. You have a cold. Except right now, don't do that.
Pretend like you're the Godfather.
Like whatever, just like, and then you sit there in the middle. You go right to the middle of the table, right? And face out. Like you're holding court. Like the entire restaurant is yours. Court. And especially if you play that little story in your head, you're just going to feel great. And you're going to have a great meal. You're going to get great service because you're going to exude all this confidence. Just, that is a fun thing to do. The other thing to do is the exact opposite end of the spectrum, which is you go to a booth and the best kind of booth for this purpose is like the diner booth, like where you're actually not facing. There's not even a way to face out unless you're like sitting on the table or something. Right. And then you got a different
benches
problem.
Facing each other.
Yeah. And you just sit there, head down on your phone, your book, your plate, whatever. Don't talk to anybody. Right. And
and you may still come off as weird, but you're not directly affecting somebody else's life.
Right. And look, almost certainly no one is going to even be talking about you.
Yeah.
Like there's not a chance. The only place there's a chance for that is at the bar. No. Everyone else is there with somebody. And they're all chatting it up with the bartender and having a good time. And you're sitting there like just ignoring everybody. Now they're telling us. Now they're making up stories about you.
Yeah,
he must have just
lost
his job. His girlfriend left him. His dog died. Well, like God forbid any of these things happen. But like that's they're making stories up. Anyway, so my choice is a table.
Yeah.
Unless you're in it for the long haul.
The long haul?
Like if you need to pass the time.
Oh, like you're in there and you got to
hang out.
Like a flight in 3 hours or something.
Yeah. Now, the difficulty with a bar in that situation is that you don't want to get wasted.
Right.
And it's especially if you're not going to drink anything, which typically, like 9 times out of 10, if I'm in this situation, it is because I'm traveling or something. Like I'm not going to be drinking. I know that just offended a whole bunch of people, but it is true. And so I'm ordering an iced tea from a bar, and the bartender's so thrilled with that.
Thanks
for filling thanks for ordering the bottomless beverage that costs $1.
It means I have to deal with you for an hour and a half and 20% of $1.50.
Right. So now you got the pressure to like order some food or something.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to order something of some like it needs to be substantial enough that it's going to like make the bartender okay with the situation. Or it needs to be something because you're also not going to necessarily want to fill up, but you want the best thing to order in this situation is the nachos, especially loaded nachos. Loaded nachos are your friend because you don't have to finish them.
Right. In fact,
right?
nobody ever does.
but you're not expected to eat them like in 15 minutes.
Right.
So like eating a big loaded nachos over the course of a long period of time is okay. Now, what you want my little secret move?
Please.
In this situation? Okay. I will typically order a drink, and it may not be an alcoholic drink. Sometimes it is, like, but something not. I don't get
kind of
beer.
low level.
Something, yeah, no, it's usually like a gin and tonic or something like that, and something I'm not gonna like pound, right? I don't know.
3 shots of Jaeger, please.
Yeah, it's like that's never even happened in my life. And then I sometimes will ask if you want to like keep the tab open or close it out or whatever, right? And I close it out. Now, knowing I'm going to be there for a long time.
Okay.
I do that because I tip heavy. I tip heavy on that one.
Right.
Then I say, you know what? Looks like I got some time to kill. I'm going to actually order some whatever.
So you've established at the outset that you're a heavy tipper.
I know it's established at the outset I'm going to take care of him.
Right.
Or her, or whatever. Like,
yeah,
that's my
smart.
secret move. That's my secret move.
Yeah.
I do believe
is kind
that
of
you
a gamble,
should tip
isn't
people.
it?
You should tip. I feel like you should tip people at the beginning of the meal, and or I wish that restaurants kept like some secret database.
Right.
That
Yes.
had
Some
our.
of them
Remember,
do,
you know,
I'd
you've
imagine.
talked about like having like social like credits and stuff. We talked about that previously. Like, I think there should be the same kind of thing for like dining credibility or tipping credibility or something. Like you're in the database and they can see you get. It's like having a credit rating.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Like, oh, this person.
This guy's a level 5.
Proportionally tips. And it doesn't matter that sometimes you tip little because you had bad service or whatever. In the big scheme of things, it all washes out. They get to see like, oh, this guy, he takes
on
takes
average, he's a above average tipper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be
would
great?
That would be great. Yeah.
Especially
like I said, I think probably some of them do remember you for.
Well, they don't act
stuff
like
if
it.
you go, enough times, I guess.
Well, they don't act like it.
They don't. Well, maybe
No,
you
like
tip enough for them
like
to act
you
like
get
it.
places that should keep track of these things, but they don't. You know, like any of these places that use like Open Table, for example, or one of those. I know that they have data. That I think the restaurants can even make notes about somebody in there. You tell it like you'll tell it. It'll ask you, "Are you celebrating an anniversary? Are you celebrating a birthday? Are you blah 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 blah?" Right? And you'll say, and I've said these things before, like, "Oh yeah, I am." Just no one says anything.
Yeah, they don't read it. Yeah.
They didn't read it.
Yeah, that's
I don't even know that that's like maybe the system exists, but it's just not being used. In any event, my problem, I'm a relationship kind of guy, so like I'm looking to build the relationship with that dude.
Yeah,
you know, across the counter. Like, so I'm gonna take care of you. It's okay. We're good.
I got you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be here for a while though.
Yeah, so
keep that iced tea
take care
coming.
of you. You take care of me. All right.
Keep that iced tea coming.
You know the whole Godfather thing again. Yeah, no, it's no. Someday, and this day may never come.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call upon you to bring me some iced tea
until you become the guy where you like you've been tipping the same amount for 40 years, and it's like your grandparents' gift money.
Right.
Like it was a big deal when you were 7.
Do you get $5?
And or they give you like $25. You're like, whoa, like that's serious money. Like you're a kid, you get $25. You get like,
yeah.
What do you mean? I mean, nowadays I know it's not as, but even nowadays, $25 will still get you something good.
$25 is still pretty good amount of.
Or just save it up like a little bit and you're good.
Yeah.
But then when they keep giving you the same amount when you're like 30,
yeah. So I can make the car payment. Thanks.
You can't stop them from giving. You're like, please stop. Don't.
And they are still giving. So it's like,
stop. Don't give me money. I make so much more money than you ever did.
Right.
Like all the money that you ever earned in your life added together. That's what I made last year. Like just because of inflation. Like just stop.
But their hearts are such in the right place that you can't say a thing about it.
I know, but you're like, man, you know what? Maybe you should get a new television. Oh, I can't afford that. Well, you could if you stopped giving me gifts 10 years ago.
Quit with the $5.
I know. I just.
Thanks for the McDonald's cash.
So I always worry that I could be that guy.
Oh yeah.
I seriously.
You're tipping an amount that is no longer impressive.
I always overtip. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Too.
I almost always overtip. I feel like on Disney property, the whole Tables in Wonderland thing.
It's kind of a blessing.
Now, for those who don't know what Tables in Wonderland is, it is a program that Disney allows Florida residents to subscribe to. I don't know what the way purchase. You purchase this little card.
Yeah, you get a year of it. I mean,
it's a Tables in Wonderland. I don't even have it within reach, and you get it for a year. I think it's what is it like $130 now?
$150 now. I want to say
now really.
Oh my God. Annual pass. People.
I just say here, take my wallet. It used to be, and by
it
used
pays
to be,
for itself if you eat here.
Just like 8 years ago, it was like $75.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember that it was like $100, and then with the AP discount or
you don't
pass,
actually have to. I don't think you have to be a Florida
75.
resident. You can just. It's just for annual pass holders. You do have to be an annual pass holder. So as an annual pass holder, you can purchase Tables in Wonderland. And Tables in Wonderland will give you a 20% discount on pretty much any table service restaurant, but it includes alcohol as well. Mm-hmm. And that is much better than. So it's better. I think it's 10% discount typically for annual pass holders, like if you have your card.
Right.
And those only apply to a much more limited set of restaurants, and it doesn't apply to alcohol. And with Tables in Wonderland, one of the best perks is that you get a complimentary valet at resorts where you're dining,
which you told me about recently, and I had no idea that was even part of it.
You got to read the membership.
Yeah, apparently.
Information. So that is huge, right? Okay. So when you're paying at the end of the meal with the Tables in Wonderland card, I always feel like it's like I don't use coupons for this reason. Like I don't.
Yeah.
You're like, now they're gonna think, oh man, all that work I just put into it, I'm not gonna get much of a tip, right? Because it only tips them 18%.
Right.
You get 20% discount, but it automatically includes an 18% gratuity. So what do? It's very difficult math to close the 2% gap.
Well, yeah, true.
Okay,
and
I don't like that at all.
And the 18% gratuity is based on the original price, not the discounted price. So at least there's
correct. that. No, that's correct. Yeah. Right? That's why they do it, because I'm sure at some point they didn't do it, and their servers were getting screwed.
Hey.
But when I don't have great service, I'll just leave it as it is. Mm-hmm. Which is below what I would normally pay street price, even for just adequate or even bad service. I still give 20% typically. Yeah, so I feel kind of crummy doing the 18% thing. But I'm like, Disney, so it's already inflated.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
When in any other circumstance, I'm typically like way over tipping. The worst is where I get my hair cut.
Yeah.
I tip so hard there. Like
I know. I do too. Because I know what.
Might as well double the price. Like here, how much does it cost? Double it.
Because what's traditional there? I don't even know.
I'm so nervous. And I it's not like it has some. I mean, I could like spin this to well, this person has sharp instruments in their hand and close to my jugular. That has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with me. Like, number one is a relationship. You spend a lot of time with them one-on-one. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Number two, you're going to come back and see
one-on-one,
and you're going to come back and see them again.
Yeah.
Right. But just like any other, I think, gratuity involved relationship, it doesn't really it doesn't seem to help anything. Like, what I'm saying is, like, I haven't been able to tip my way into having a more consistent barber.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't get like an extra lollipop or anything when I, remember when they used to do that?
Yeah.
That was a thing. It drives me crazy. And I think that the rest of the world probably has this figured out better where they don't tip. There's countries where you just don't tip.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's actually
which is weird for a little while. It takes some getting used to. And I tipped a taxi driver in England, and it was all, I exuded the fact that I was American, so it wasn't even a question. So he was probably expecting some kind of tip. He was like,
so you're like, I know it's an insult to tip here, but I also recognize
I was subconsciously not necessarily subconsciously, but non-verbally communicating that, where I was like, thanks so much, because he really helped, because we're trying to find 221B Baker Street, because we're American people, and that's what we go to when we go to London. And he was very helpful about that, and that some stuff that was around there he talked about. I mean, the guy was just an amazing taxi driver, and I love the taxis in London anyway. Those big sort of blocky black cars, those are really cool. And I'm sure like Claire is probably going, oh God,
oh great, now you just
but
mentioned your name, and now a sparrow
as long as you don't say it 3 times.
Just died somewhere.
But yeah, so I clearly like just don't say it 3 times. But like it was a situation where I was just kind of weirdly and effusively showering money on this man, because I also had the wad of Poundingtons, and so I was like this, and he's like, oh no, not that much, yeah, get a bit of that back, no, I don't need that, and it was this odd thing where he was having to give money back, and I was just like, I am losing so many points right now. I'm failing. I'm utterly failing.
When I was in Santiago, Chile, I didn't know a lick of Spanish. I mean, I knew enough Spanish to convince people for a heartbeat that I could speak Spanish. I think I said the basic things really well, like, right, hello, how are you? And then they would try to go on. This happened to me at the airport, right. Actually. And I was checking in, and I said, "Oh, ¿cómo está?" And she starts going off. Like, I'm like, no, you don't understand. You have my passport right there. Like, what are you expecting? Seriously?
Estados Unidos.
Come on, we don't really learn other people's languages. Anyway, we don't even really learn our own. Right. So I'm in Santiago, and I'm going across the street from the hotel to this little market to get a bottle of water. And I did learn that you needed to ask agua sans gas. Like
sans gas.
No gas. No seltzer.
Oh, gotcha.
Still water.
Still water, and not sparkling.
Con gas, you want water, right. So
con gas. Wow. Yeah.
So I would say, I know, it's agua sans gas, and so they get it for me, or I get it. They point to, and I now have to figure out how much, like, because it's thousands of.
Right. Yeah.
Is it pesos? Is it pesos there in Chile? I don't even remember. It was a long time ago. It was like 15 years ago or so. More than that probably. And so instead I pulled the money out of my pockets. And the bills are like crumpled. And I just presented it to them.
You handed it to them?
Like a bowl. No, I just like presented it. And they just picked out. They just picked the money out. Like how much it was. Like, okay, thank you very much.
Some of these, I assume.
It's also the place where I walked into the women's room in this restaurant.
Oh, really?
Well, it was one of those, you get on the steps and you go to the bathrooms, and in America they do something like that. Sometimes they'll have like these cute little words for men's and women's, but it's not really men. It's like you have to like just have to think for a second, and then you like have to think again, right? And then you double check the image that they have on the door to make sure that like matches what you're
right.
Well, here they didn't have such an image. There was no like little cowgirl, cowboy, or something like that. There was not a unisex situation because this is 15 years ago. And there was these words. Well, I didn't know what the word was. Like, it wasn't like the normal Spanish word for man and woman, whatever that is.
Yeah,
but it wasn't like
caballeros.
hombre, and it wasn't like that. It was something else. And I chose poorly. Because I walk in, and it's that kind of situation. You walk in, and you're like, no urinals. Huh. Because there are places like that.
Yeah, there are. That's not a giveaway.
Right.
Presence of a urinal is a giveaway, but non-presence, not one.
Unless it's a unisex bathroom, in which case then it is what
You're
it is.
an Ally McBeal.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, I was thinking more like it's a one-use kind of like one person at a time kind of place. I always wonder, like, when a woman walks into a bathroom like that, do they ever eye the urinal and say, They think like,
I think
maybe today's the day. Maybe today's the day.
I can do that.
I'm in here all alone.
How hard could it be? Nobody's
I've
looking.
got power.
There's plenty of paper towel.
I mean, I never walk in saying, today is the day I sit.
Right.
Unnecessarily. Never in my life.
Never once.
So I walk in, and it happens like, oh, and you get that hesitation, like, oh no, like, it's not overtly feminine either. It's not like,
right.
Yeah, and
maybe looking for the dispenser.
And there's no women at the counter or anything. Mm-hmm. Like, no one's like doing their thing.
Literally
hands,
no
whatever.
clues as to whether or not you've chosen correctly.
Except there's no urinals.
Yeah, which, as we've said, is only really half of a clue.
I walk in, and I am in Santiago. I was like, So I walk in, and I look, and I'm like, oh, no. And then I'm like, ah. And then stall opens, like three women, because they do everything together. Like, three women come out at the same time. Like,
a dance number starts.
And even then, I wasn't sure. I was like, yeah. And they gave me, that's when I got the look, like, they were like, why are you here?
Americano.
And if I had my wits about me, I should have like been like, towel? But I turned around and I left quickly.
May I interest you in a mint?
That's not what they want in the restroom. I never understood that either. Like, that's the weird thing. There's actually I think there's an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm from this past season where there's a fantastic discussion about room attendants and bathrooms.
Oh, man.
Fantastic. Really good. And if you don't like Curb Your
I'd love
Enthusiasm,
to see that one.
We're going to have to stop this right now because...
I've seen a couple episodes. I don't dislike it. I just haven't followed it because there's so much of it. And I haven't gone back to start it.
But the problem with chocolate, there's just too much chocolate.
Well, like I said, the bits that I've seen, I have really enjoyed. And that exact conversation is one that I would be very interested in,
it's
hearing,
really good.
Because bathroom attendants, if we're talking about the social anxieties of various situations that you find yourself in, I hate the presence of bathroom attendants with a massive white-hot passion. Well, I cannot stand it. I will almost just do a U-turn and walk right the hell out because I'm not dealing with that. I don't need a guy waiting on me to get done and then handing me stuff. No.
So that's basically like, I'm not going to spoiler alert, but this is like the scene is that he asks the guy to leave. He's like, I can't do my thing while you're in the room.
You got this. You got a
guy's
chair.
Like, this is my job. Like, I'm here. Like, I get that, but like, you gotta go. Like, I can't.
You gotta understand. This is an atypical situation.
You don't even want to be here. Like, you just go. And the guy's like, I'm gonna get in trouble. Like, I can't leave my post. I'm gonna get in trouble. He's like, no. It's like. Anyway, I'm not going to give any more.
I don't want other people in the other stalls. I sure don't want that guy.
I'm not going to give anything else away. It's a really good episode. It's also the same episode where it's this whole question of whether this restaurant seats the pretty people by the window and the ugly people on the other side of the restaurant.
Yeah, I need to see this one.
Yeah. Which was my I had this experience recently. I'm hoping it wasn't related to attractiveness, but it may have been. No, I don't think it was, because I know the other people who got this treatment, and they're not unattractive people. At California Grill of all places, we went there for Michelle's birthday, and they, and they asked, like, "Are you celebrating?" Blah, blah, blah. And I said, "Yeah, well, it's our birthday." And Henry and Alex were with us, and you go upstairs, and there's a little elevator that you can like get in. If it only goes to that one floor, right, you can get in there until you check in and everything. They take a blood sample and so forth. You go up, they greet you off the elevator, and they escort you to your table. And our table, and we're walking by all the good tables.
Yeah.
Like, gone are the tables by like the windows facing the Magic Kingdom. Mm-hmm. Gone are the tables by the windows facing anything of interest. In fact, we're not even at a table near a window.
No windows. Yeah.
We're at like this table that's sort of off the kitchen. Here, like, it's an open kind of kitchen thing, but it's like off the kitchen. It's like basically they put us as far around the back side of the restaurant as they could, in the middle of the floor, like almost no other tables in the middle that doesn't have a view. Except they didn't stick us like in what is the private room, but because there were some other parties, and not parties like party, but like other groups in there. Anyway, so whatever. There we are. It's fine. I say to Michelle, "Do you want do you want to move?" It's fine. She's whatever. Then I'm feeling I'm like pissed off the rest of the dinner because of where we're sitting. Anyway, so we take pictures. I think Michelle shared one of them on Facebook or something, and Tony Caggiano messages me the next day, said, you were sitting at the same table we were sitting at 2 days ago. I'm like, are you sure it's the same table?
You got the leper table too?
Like, literally, what are the chances it's the same table? Like, seriously. He sends us sends me a picture that he took of like his kids on the other side of the table. It's literally the same table. And I thought to myself, well, at least I'm in good company.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what we did wrong to be ostracized like that. Maybe we brought our children.
You don't get to see outside.
If you bring teenage boys, this is where we sit you.
It could be. Yeah.
Period. Or maybe Disney has like some weird little system. They're like, oh, these are Tables in Wonderland people.
Yeah. That may be it.
I don't know. I don't even know if they're Table in Wonderland people. Anyway. Mystery. It's a mystery. But I do know that when I go back, I know exactly where I want to sit. And it's in those elevated booths around the other side that overlook the Magic Kingdom. And I'm not going to leave until I get one of them. I'm going to say, don't even put me in the elevator until the booth is open.
Right.
But sir, you're by yourself. Exactly.
That's right. It could be like the single rider or the front car line at the roller coaster. Like, I want the booth. I'll wait longer for the booth.
Yeah, wait. Yeah. Yes. I mean, that is one of the nice things about
I've seen people eat in those booths.
Right.
They
I think
do
you're
sit
using
people
them.
there.
Right. Rumor has it you're still using the booths.
Yeah. And you walk by and there's people
for one
there.
of those.
How'd they do that?
How long have they been there?
Yeah, they may have gotten there at like 3 p.m.
It's okay. I'll wait for them to finish.
I'm here for the day.
I'm settling in for the long haul.
I want to see every firework.
Bring me that iced tea
and
the nachos.
The California Grill nachos.
Legendary. There
are.
could be some good nachos. Here's the thing: if California Grill served nachos, it would probably be a build your own nachos, and it would be amazing.
Oh yeah, with some of the like finest cheeses in the land. Oh
my goodness, like drizzled Gouda, and
Wensleydale. Who serves Wensleydale?
Is that like a name of somebody from Downton Abbey or something?
No, it's an actual cheese.
Oh no, Wensleydale's coming to visit.
And it's from, and the only reason I know of it is because of the Monty Python cheese sketch.
Clearly I am not caught up on my Monty Python cheese sketches.
Yeah, the cheese shop sketch is very. I know that's why I know any cheeses.
I know
beyond
that.
cheddar.
There goes another one. I know that one from Meaning of Life.
There goes another one.
But I don't know if I can say this, but something is sacred.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I can say it's
it's a type of whale.
But Narwhal?
With the horn?
The little Woody Johnson? Oh my goodness. Oh, there's something wrong with this.
So weirdly circling all the way back to the beginning, the town of, what was it?
Bellingham.
Bellingham. Now where geographically does that sit in the state?
So imagine you're here in Orlando-ish. Imagine
use terms
traveling
from Orlando
across the country diagonally,
slightly to the left of Orlando,
as far as you can. In fact, if you said to yourself, "What's the furthest I could get to?"
Without going in the water,
what's the furthest away without leaving the continental U.S.? That would be Bellingham.
And that's it.
I mean, I'm sure there's like some little town north of Bellingham, just maybe
North Bellingham,
15 minutes or something. But if you said what's the furthest target I could go to,
right? Okay,
and stay in the continental U.S., this would be it, man. I've been there. I've been to the target.
Target on the other end of the world.
Yes. And we were literally 30-minute drive at the most from Canada.
Okay.
It is geographically, because the border gets wonky out there, especially once you get out into the water and the little San Juan Islands and so forth.
Mm.
It's literally north. Bellingham is north of Victoria.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just south of Vancouver.
There's that little tail or whatever on the west side.
Yeah, the tail. That's what they call it.
Is that really what they call it? I was just going to make that stuff up. Oh, okay. I was like, wow, I was impressed. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, the Narwhal tail. They call it the San Juan tail. Yeah. So it's really far.
Wow.
It's really, and they do have an airport. They have what they call an international airport, which I assume means they fly to Canada.
Because they go to Vancouver, probably.
Yeah, I mean, they do fly. I know that Allegiant flies. They have flights that run to LA and San Diego and Vegas, but nothing east of Arizona. Allegiant does fly out of Sanford.
Yeah, I was about to say they fly here,
but they don't fly there. You can't go from here to there.
That's weird.
Probably because all the other major airlines have locked down their
it could be
their, what do you call it, the routes, so you get basically boxed out. So there is you literally, the same thing kind of applies with Virgin Atlantic. If you ever try to purchase a flight on the US site version, the version of the site for Virgin Atlantic, you try to purchase a flight from, say, Orlando to Paris. You can't do it. You can go to New Delhi. You can go to Cape Town. You can go to all these other places. You can't go to Paris or to something, Italy. Now, it's not like they actually don't fly there.
Yeah, they do fly there.
They do fly there. They do have code shares and so forth, right? You just can't do it on that website. I think it has to do with it's all the weird, route.
There's so much odd stuff that governs air travel.
What? Maybe the airline industry would actually be more profitable. You wouldn't have to rape people and rape their wallets. To if they actually just allowed things to just be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, you want to fly here? Let the airport set the price. You want to fly here? This is what it costs to land. And they do have landing fees. That's a thing. But but it gets much more complicated than that. It's probably somewhere in the realm, in terms of complication, it's probably somewhere in the realm of Medicare billing.
Yeah.
That's what I would assume.
Because when you get on one of these planes, you know that no two people on this plane paid the same amount of money for their seat. There's so much that goes into that that's so crazy, and I just do not understand it.
I always get irritated when people get upgraded too, and you're like, really? Because then there's just people who ask. You see them ask for the upgrade. There's nothing more annoying. I mean, like, if I'm ever flying first class, it's not because I purchased it. It's because I used points.
Right. Yeah.
But there's nothing more annoying than being somebody. You're there in the area, and you've used your points or your money to be there, right? And then you have this schmuck who comes up to the counter and says, do you have any upgrades? And I'd be like, get out of here, man. Like, what are you doing?
No, since I travel a lot for work, I always travel on American, so I got the points on American, and I'm to the level or whatever where I get the complimentary upgrade for each whatever leg, and those are nice.
But you don't have to ask for it, right?
No, right. It happens automatically, right?
See, that's
what
I would want.
Can I sit in the big seat?
That's right. I mean, like, and then I'm going to be annoyed if he gets upgraded. I'm like, do I get a discount now? Like, now I'm subsidizing this jerk. Like, seriously? On the flight back from Bellingham, from Bellingham, because I can't fly I had to drive to Seattle to a proper airport to fly back to Orlando. It's like an hour and a half to 2 hour drive from Bellingham to Seattle. Okay. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's north.
Yeah,
it's like when you move to California on the East Coast, you move to California, they think everything's close together because in the Northeast, everything is
run down to LA from San Francisco.
Close-ish. Yeah, they'll say like, "Oh, you're moving to San Francisco. Be sure to look up, Billy. He's in LA." Like,
right.
Really? Because, like, how often are you just going by somebody's house in Boston?
Right.
You live in D.C.
It's
you're just, like, swinging by Boston. Like, really?
Just run down to San Diego.
Right. But, like, because I said I was going, like, oh, Alex is going to school in Washington, blah, blah, blah. And they would say, like, oh, while we were there, like, make sure you do this thing. I'm like, that's south of Seattle.
Yeah, that's in Tacoma, for the love of God.
Like, what are you thinking? Yes, comparatively, I'm closer, for sure.
Right, yeah.
But
as opposed to Florida, yes.
It's far. So my way back from Seattle, and by the way, the lounge, and I know now we're going to sound like pompous. I'm going to sound like some right. But because I have an Amex card and I'm flying Delta and stuff, I can get access to the lounge. And so the lounge experience is not like it used to be, buddy.
No, man.
The COVID lounge experience is...
Oh, now COVID. Yeah, I haven't experienced COVID lounge yet.
It's like... You'd be better off buying a sandwich from like out there and then bringing it in.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, it's not, it's bad. And then you're like eyeing people up like, do you have COVID? Do you have COVID? You didn't use the hand sanitizer six times like I did. Anyway, so I'm going back. I'm flying back. So actually you can't get there from here again because of rules. You can't get from Seattle and Delta nonstop to Orlando. If you want to do that, you got to fly Alaska, which is like super duper stupid expensive. So I'm not going to do that.
If you want to fly nonstop from Seattle
to Orlando,
you have to fly Alaska.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Whatever.
You're not going anywhere near Alaska, but it's okay.
And I'll be like, anyway, I want to be like, aren't you really AirTran, really? But you fly to Atlanta from Seattle if you're on Delta, and you can go other places too, but that's the best route to fly. There's this guy when I was waiting to board who said to the lady, he asked if she has any upgrades. Like, first problem, he asked, are there any upgrades? You're already annoying, right? You're already on my list, buddy. Second thing, he's wearing a baseball cap backwards.
And how old is this guy?
Oh, I don't know. Dude's probably like, I'm terrible with ages. Maybe he's 30. I don't know. Hey, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Like, you just look like an idiot.
Yeah.
You look like you don't look ironic, and you're too old. You're not like on our gang.
You're flip chapeau
like, come
insolence.
on, like. Anyway, on the airplane, of course he's back, and that's the other thing. Like with COVID airplane, it doesn't even make sense to upgrade.
Yeah.
Like this is the other thing I learned now. I haven't because I haven't flown in a while, right? So like you don't use your points to upgrade, buddy, because you just get like any economy seat basically is practically first class because there's always a middle seat between you,
right.
And a lot of times there's a full row. Like you don't like an empty row. You're good. You're the only person there. That's what I noticed. But so this guy's back there. At some point, he attempts to come up and use the bathroom in the front, and he gets turned away.
Oh,
and I was like, "Gosh!" There's still something. There is.
You are not allowed on the upper decks.
There's still justice. Meanwhile, I'm not using the bathroom at all because I'm like, can I make it to Atlanta without using the airplane bathroom? Because I'm watching all the people come and go. Like,
they don't look clean.
Like, yeah, you don't.
Yeah. Using the bathroom on the plane is something I do as an absolute last resort. I made it from Chicago to Seoul, South Korea. Never darkened the bathroom once.
Wow.
I still am not sure how I did it.
Did you look like a raisin when you got there? Were you so severely dehydrated that you needed like fluids?
I didn't like regulate my intake in any way. It's just my body's
Catheter?
will was like, you know what?
Diaper?
No.
It's like adult diaper?
I think it just, I just shut down those warning signs. And then when I got off the plane.
I think, do you sleep? You slept, right? You probably slept. Yeah, so I don't sleep on planes. So I'd be thinking about it for.
There's so much white noise. I'm surprised.
You think? But I have to be laying flat.
Oh, that's, yeah.
And I'm a stomach sleeper.
I can only sleep a certain amount. I will say that.
So the seat really can't even recline enough unless I can turn over. And I have actually gotten pretty darn close to it. Like if you
flatness.
If you like lean the seat way far back enough, and then you loosen the seatbelt enough, and then you kind of can sit up on your hip a little bit and kind of make your body feel like maybe you're kind of side sleeping, maybe. But I'm too big. I was so jealous of those like little women who like. Yeah. Who like can like curl up in it's like they're like those little potato bug things. They like they fold up, they fold up on themselves, and like
you don't want to catch your finger in there when they go.
How does that even happen? This woman across the row from me had her feet up. She was she was in a window seat, and she had her feet up. Like there wasn't anyone in front of her, and so she put her feet up on the armrest of the chair in front of her, so she had like this fully extended lounge like situation, and I'm looking at and I'm looking with jealousy, like I'm looking at my longing, and not longingly at her, but like I'm looking at the situation. I'm looking at my spot,
her
and I'm
ability to.
I don't even think that even if I could bend that way, I can't. I couldn't make it happen. Like my ankles are too big to even fit between that space. Like I don't even understand how it's possible. But women, not all women, but a lot of women, they're like contortionists or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God, on the one hand, I want to like applaud it. Like, way to go. Like that's very well done. But on the other hand, I'm like, I hate you a little bit more now than I did. Like you should have to suffer too. Universal suffrage. Weren't you for that?
The little pretzels on them.
Didn't you like root for universal suffrage?
Isn't that what you're supposed to be? You got to suffer on the airplanes like we do.
It's not suffrage. It must be.
But I tell you, being a fella of large dimensions myself, it seems like the airlines, and now that COVID's here, and that's almost kind of a blessing because of the middle seat situation. Not that COVID's a blessing, but the procedures are now such that this doesn't happen anymore. But it always seems like they know the two guys with the broadest shoulders, we're going to stick them together. And so we're both like...
It's the Southwest Airlines problem. Like the biggest problem I have with Southwest Airlines, and I used to fly them all the time on the West Coast, and I flew them all the time on the East Coast, but I refuse to fly cross country. Done it before, done it a handful of times. I will never do it again because there's no way to buy your way into a better experience. Doesn't matter. Like it's like going to the DMV. Everyone's equal. No one's beating through here. Like sit down, get in your number, sit down, and shut up because Nurse Ratchet's gonna see you when she's gonna see you. Right? That's Southwest Airlines. They have one job. It's to get you where you're going on time. Cheaply.
As cheaply as possible.
Right. Oh, and by the way, you get free bags, which is nice, right? And they're really good at that. They're really good at that thing. But because you can't pick your seat, and because you also can't like buy an extra seat, there's no way like you can't buy a second seat just for you.
Right.
So I almost want to carry around like a little baby like you can buy an extra seat for like a baby thing. Maybe I can get like a realistic looking baby. Would that be wrong?
Well, I don't think it'll be wrong. I don't think it's inconveniencing anybody. I think that works.
Especially if I kept like my little bag of batteries and wires and stuff in it. Like I could, it could be a charging station.
Why this kid isn't moving or breathing?
We gotta patent this, dude. Like it's like a baby. It looks like a baby in a thing, right?
It's actually a carrying case for.
Shh, the baby's asleep. Baby's asleep. Don't do it.
You put little servo motors in there so it kind of moves around a little bit.
Sir, is that a real baby? Can I see that baby's passport? No one's going to say that.
Right,
TSA is not going to say, well, you need to scan the baby. Like, right? Actually, they probably will make you take the child out of the thing. I haven't thought that far. But they don't care about the seat situation, so that's okay.
Well, yeah, they're not the airline, so...
No, you're just the weirdo taking a little baby. You can put the baby in your carry-on.
So I'm going to a baby doll convention.
Put the baby in... God, this is so bad. Put the baby in your carry-on. It's not a real baby, people. Let's just be clear. It's not a real baby.
Just make sure when you make the transition, nobody's around.
It's a fake charging baby. It's a charging station shaped as a baby. Okay, so then you take the baby out of your, then you take the baby out of your thing. You had a little like whatever you call that thing the baby carrier thing, and then you're not a Bajorn kind of thing. Like this is like the thing that you sit into a car seat. Like it becomes one with the car. Like. Right?
You say a Bajoran thing?
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. You carry them around
from Deep Space Nine.
No, anyway, I'll explain later. People know what I'm talking about. So you get on you bought this extra seat for your baby, right? You don't have to present any credentials for the baby unless you're traveling internationally or something, right? And then
he's not expected to have his ID on him.
No. I was going to say, and how old are you, son? And then you get on the airplane, and you sit the baby there in the middle seat, and you lock it in. In fact, I would go so far as to set it on the aisle seat, or maybe the window seat. And sit on the window seat. That way people aren't going to get a good look at your charging cables coming out of it. Sit on the window seat, strap it in, strap that sucker in tight.
Yeah.
And then, as it should be, because you're being protective. Real baby charging station.
Yeah, you don't want your battery to be.
This is not a changing station. This is a charging station. So then you sit there, and you're going to insist. Now here you're betting on the flight not being full, right? So most of the time there's at least one seat open. One seat. Your goal is to get the row with the one seat. So when the people are coming by. You're basically daring them. Yes, you be the person that comes between me and my baby.
Right. Yeah.
Are you? And then you can kind of have a whole story. The baby has to be by the window because they're vitamin D deficient.
Right.
And they need their vitamin D.
And they're
you want to steal this child's vitamin D? Like seriously?
You're going to put my baby in jeopardy just because you want to see it out of the window?
Right. No. I think this would work, dude. I think
it would.
This would actually work.
Now, the key, very important question here is, where do you put the charging ports on the baby?
Well, they come out of the bottom of it. They
so you
come out.
Shove the charger.
Well, it's built
up
in.
The baby.
Well, yeah, because the battery pack is inside the back, like it's like a spine. And in the battery.
So we're almost creating an android here.
No, it's just like having a pal Mickey. It's like.
It always told you when that one parade was going to happen.
It's like pal Mickey. I have like here's the thing. Like I said, I don't fly Southwest anymore. But I think if there was like an award, if there was an Olympic competition for getting the road, like getting us like the middle seat open in a Southwest Airlines situation, I would be the champion of the world.
Yeah.
Like
this is your mutant power.
It's one of my superpowers. And you can ask Michelle, ask my family. Like I am so good. I've done it with my children. Like we fly to Anaheim from San Francisco, and we're gonna get them. Like Dad, what? Don't worry, I got this. We're gonna. And I don't even feel like I should share them here. my techniques, because they're so good. I should probably write a manual of some sort and sell it.
Set up a school.
To fund my baby charter.
There you go. I'm telling you, battery. That's what it should be.
That sounds too much like battery. Like assault and battery. Battery B. Oh. Why is he blue? Oh, it's terrible. Bad.
I gotta charge him up.
The word. God forbid. The plane depressurizes and the oxygen masks drop. And then you put it on yourself. And you don't put it on the baby, like the baby charger. And people are like, dude, you got it.
Like, nah, he's good. I've been training him.
He can hold his breath for hours.
You should see this kid in the fish tank.